Hello fellow Star Trek Fleet Commanders, this is Black Hafton 8 from BHD8 Gaming. Guilds in mini-games will help you to find a group of players to either progress in general or just make certain tasks a lot easier. The equivalent of guilds in Star Trek Fleet Command is the alliance system. Alliances can go far beyond a group that just helps you accomplish certain tasks. Many players take their loyalty to their alliance to a deeper and sometimes even darker level. For those players, your alliance is your family, and you do not turn your back on your family. But is that a healthy way for people to treat this mechanic of the game? I myself have become what I like to refer to as an alliance hopper. I will move from alliance to alliance, sometimes quite quickly, to go visit friends and players in other alliances, just to get some more perspective and really just go hang out with other players. As such, I'm going to share the top 4 tips that I have as an alliance hopper with you in this video. Let's do it. Some real quick backstory before we dive into that. However, when I first started playing this game, I just joined the first alliance that was open publicly for me to join. I very quickly found out that it was a dead alliance. For those of you who do not know what a dead alliance is, it's basically one without an active admiral or any other active leaders. That means you can neither invite new people if you are not public, and you cannot kick other people, among other things. You do not have the ability to use those diplomatic statuses to mark other alliances as allied, friendly, or enemy either, nor do you have the ability to buy into territory takeovers, which can really hurt your gameplay once you get further on down the road. A dead alliance is really something you don't want to be in. We came to that conclusion pretty quickly in the alliance chat and discussed how one of us should probably go jump ship and create a new alliance so the rest of us could join. That somebody ended up being me, and my philosophy at the time was to just build an alliance, invite all those people to it so we could get started, and hand it off to somebody who is a better leader than myself. Well, not many people were too desperate to go ahead and take the alliance from me, so I ended up as an admiral kind of on accident, and for some reason that alliance ended up growing to be around the top 5 position on many of the alliance leaderboards on our server. It was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed my time in that alliance. Unfortunately, I had some real life events come around that required me to not be able to serve in the same capacity for those players as a leader, so I chose to merge my alliance with another alliance that was pretty similar to mine at the time. That came with its own complications. We already did a video on the alliance merging and tips for that a long time ago. You can go check that one out if you are curious. But eventually I got to the position where I didn't even really want to be a leader in an alliance anymore. So I went ahead and stepped down, and it was very hard to not still be a leader in an alliance, especially one that had members that had been around since I started playing the game. So I took it upon myself to go visit another alliance that I had many friends in, and I really enjoyed that experience, to hang out every day with new players that I hadn't really had a chance to hang out with, even though we had been chummy either in personal messages or in the Galaxy chat, to actually interact with them on a daily basis, run armadas with them, do territory controls, whatever with them was pretty awesome. So I decided to do the same thing and leave and go hang out with another group of people, and realized I liked it quite a bit. So now I consider myself a citizen of the server. I am frequently on what I call a walkabout to go experience the game with new players or players that I just don't get to interact with that often. And that kind of catches you up with where I am right now in my Star Trek Fleet Command career. Now that you understand where I'm coming from while I present this information to you, the top tip that I have, number 1, is if at all possible, do not drop those alliance tags while you are in the middle of an alliance milestone or alliance leaderboard event. If you have contributed even 1 point to that leaderboard or the milestone, it seems, then you will be ineligible for a reward at all if you haven't already got one from your alliance milestone, that is. But for the alliance leaderboard, even if that event runs for 3 weeks for some reason, if you have dropped tags at any point in time, then you will very likely not get anything at all, no matter what the alliance that you finish with would end up being. I didn't think much about it the first couple times that this happened, but now that I look back at all the rewards that I've missed out on, very much do not drop those tags if you can help it. If there's not some sort of a crisis or emergency situation during the middle of one of those events, it will hurt you quite a bit. The second item on our list is really kind of an observation that will turn into a tip here in a second, but hear me out. Most alliances are built around the same general core, and that is that your huge group of players all have relatively the same objectives for the game. Be that PvP, be that mining, be that competition on leaderboards, whatever it is, almost everybody in that alliance has a very similar objective while playing the game. So if you find yourself in, here's the tip, an alliance that does not seem to fit what your primary objective is, rest assured that there is likely an alliance out there that will do so. Furthermore, that big group of alliance members is actually broken down into many smaller groups or cliques of players that have a lot more in common, be that their operations level, their play schedule, sometimes the amount of money that they've spent on the game, whatever it is. Most alliances are actually a big group of smaller groups that are aligned in some way such as that. Another piece of this while we're touching on the topic is that pretty much every alliance that I've been in has its own code. Sometimes that is simply row, sometimes it's row plus something else. As an example, some PvP alliances may expect you to go get your power destroyed number up by hitting any floating warships that you come across in a day of gaming. On the flip side, your PvE alliances will completely expect you to never PvP, or at least only PvP defensively, whatever that means, but I've heard it stated before. Another big thing here is that almost every alliance that I've been in is fiercely loyal to people wearing their own tags, and really not much else. Sure, sometimes there is infighting where a particular member is a little bit outcast, or there are different factions within an alliance. There's a little bit of infighting going on, what have you, but generally, people are extremely protective of those wearing their own tags. And even their own allies, the other alliances that they're allied with, they don't really seem to care about that much. Sure, sometimes they'll come to their aid, but in general, it's just a don't hit me and we won't hit you kind of agreement. At the end of the day, those that are wearing your tags are the ones that you actually care about, and everybody else is pretty much relegated to the exact same everyone else category. Real quickly, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and leave it a like. If you have anything to contribute, please do so in the comments below. Remember, this video is more of a jumping off point for a larger community discussion down in the comments and on the Discord server. Subscribe if you've not already done so, please, and make sure you share this video with anyone you think will get any kind of value from it. If you would like to financially support the channel, we thank you tremendously for that. You can do so with the links down in the description to our PayPal or Patreon, or you can join this channel for other interesting perks and features. Our live streams happen every Friday from 9 p.m. till about midnight-ish Eastern Standard Time, that is. If you've never experienced one, they are a pretty fun way for us to come together as a community live to hang out with me and the crew, ask your Star Trek Fleet Command questions, ask any questions you have about myself, or just generally get into whatever game that we are feeling at the time if we have put Star Trek Fleet Command aside for the evening. So to pick up where we left off, by the way, I've noticed that a lot of the what you would call top alliances, people that are rated fairly high on at least one of the alliance leaderboards for your entire server, usually use the friendly symbol to actually mean something opposite of friendly. It is people that they want to use as rules of engagement priority targets, meaning people you're not at outright conflict with, but that you really don't like for one reason or another, so you're going to prioritize attacking those ships whenever you see them around. Conversely, the other alliances I see that are not that competitive on the other boards use it to mean genuinely people who are your friends, people who you should not hit, people who, for one reason or another, the alliance seems to get along with. Just an interesting observation. I don't know why that seems to be the case. Of course, it's not 100% of the time, but maybe 80% of the time, the top alliances, most competitive alliances, have repurposed that status for another alliance to mean go hit these people, but don't violate our rules of engagement to do it. Pretty strange, but that's just the way that it seems to be. The fourth big tip for you as a player is to kind of pay attention to what's going on in your alliance. You want to make sure that you have really good leadership. Leadership is key to longevity of that alliance. You want an alliance that's going to be around for a long time. Shared responsibilities among the Admiral and Commodores, and that leaders come and go by choice, are common good indicators for your alliance's health overall. Your Admiral or Commodores, in general, your leadership of your alliance, if they seem to be xenophobic towards other alliances, or if they seem to have a lot of difficulty leaving someone else in charge while they are either dealing with real-life situations or visiting other alliances, is generally a negative indicator for the health of your alliance. Not always, but usually it is. We say that because your leaders really need downtime. They need to be able to deal with things that are happening outside of the game, or be able to play the game like any other player for a length of time before they get back into those responsibilities. They need to be able to visit friends and other alliances, etc. And if they don't feel like they're able to do that, then it will probably weigh on them mentally and reduce their capacity to lead your alliance. So really the key here is that when a passing of the torch moment happens, was it something that was deliberate and intentional, or was it a PR stunt to try to make a situation go away, or something that just had to happen because somebody had to leave and put the game down right that instant, where they are leaving somebody else holding the bag, if you will, for your alliance. If that happens, then you generally want to turn your eyes elsewhere to try to find an alliance that is better suited for you and that you won't have to worry about waking up one day, logging into the game, and your alliance being completely fractured and a tenth of the size that it started when you went to sleep that night. I have seen that happen as well. You don't want it to happen to you because then you'll spend a lot of your day tied up in personal messages with other players trying to figure out what happened, where your friends went, etc. Not fun. You do want an alliance that has some sort of longevity if you're going to be sitting still for a while. The fourth big tip is for you as a player if you are trying to find a permanent home and not an alliance hopper like me, that you are finding an alliance that fits your personality and your playstyle as closely as possible. So there are, for me, 5 alliance quality factors. That doesn't mean it is a quality alliance based off of everyone's guidelines. It means that for you, this is an indicator of a high quality alliance that fits your playstyle. So remember, these are Dan's opinion here. We're not saying which one is best, but these are the factors that you really need to consider when trying to figure out the highest quality alliance for you to spend your time in. The first of these factors, in my opinion, is the diplomacy statuses of your alliance. Is it a warring alliance that has all sorts of people marked as enemy, or is it a peaceful alliance that has a lot of people that are marked as ally or friendly? You want to find one that does fit your playstyle here for sure. The second big thing here is their armada policy. And by that, I really mean the way that they approach armadas in general. Are they planning out the armada engagement before anybody spins the directive, or are they really just flying by the seat of their pants and hoping somebody shows up to bail them out in a lot of cases when they bit off more than they could chew on their own? I know I said I'm not going to give my opinion here, but I'm breaking that rule already. You really want to find a group of people, and you want to be that type of player as well that is trying to put together the group before you spin the directives. Whether they are your directives or somebody else in your alliance, please don't waste those and make sure that you are doing everything you can to set your armada group up for success ahead of time. Okay, that's the last one I'm going to offer my own advice on. Moving on, the third big factor here is your chat activity. Really, you've got a whole spectrum here from total ghost town to where you don't ever really see anything posted in your alliance chat to a whole waterfall where if you scroll up, you only get about 5 minutes worth of history from it. And of course, there is a giant amount of places you could fall in between, but you really want to find the sociable aspect that you enjoy, whatever fits your personality the best here, whether that is you want everything said in alliance chat to be deep and meaningful and actionable to you, or you just want a bunch of people that you can goof around with and tell each other jokes, make each other laugh, and just all around have a good core group of people that are entertaining to play the game with. Make sure that you are finding the right group for you there. The fourth big consideration is, what is the origin sector situation for this alliance? Do they have territory? If so, are the services or the resources there something that you actually want as a player? What is the turnout for their territory conquests or defenses? If the turnout is relatively low, then it is possible that you have some of the best resources or services in the game, but you won't hold them for very long because somebody will come ninja that stuff from you. So you want to make sure that you do have a very good territory situation to fit your playstyle as well. The fifth of these factors, for myself at least, are the bigs helping the smalls. By bigs, that doesn't necessarily mean, though in many cases it does mean, your VIP, higher operations players helping your free-to-play or light spending players. That does not necessarily mean that they are running you through armadas. Sure, that is one way they can help. They might help you defend raids or find raid targets or even crack bases for you. But the biggest thing are people who are more experienced in the game, that have more experience overall, sharing that experience and helping other people who are earlier in their game or not as experienced improve, get better, and that way let the entire alliance do better as a whole. That is really something that you should consider. Do you want to be a member of a group that is every man for themselves, or that is nobody left behind? And of course, again, this is a spectrum. You will find that alliances usually fall somewhere between those two places. One other thing we did want to mention is that while you are trying to make sure your alliance is a good fit for your playstyle, even if it did fit at one point in time, you should regularly assess your own gaming priorities, because those can shift as you get further into the game, or at least in different areas of the game. You may decide all of a sudden that you actually care more about PvP than you did before, or you may find yourself without a bunch of resources and that you should go mine and spend some time building those resources back up. You want to make sure that you are in an alliance that accommodates your goals day after day, week after week, month after month, and you may have to move around to find one that fits you as those change. To get the most out of this game, you need to make sure that those tags that you are wearing at the end of the day fit your individual play style. That said, check out our video over here covering a lot of the common issues in the game during patch day. Share those with your friends, alliance mates, and anyone you care about to help make the game a little less frustrating on one of the more frustrating days of the game. Thank you to all of our supporters. Choose to live, my friends, and we will see you again soon.